Morning, everybody. I'm Kee Chong, one of the pediatricians in KK Women and Children's Hospital, and also helping to run this CRADLE project. And thank you for taking time off this morning to join us in our first webinar on CRADLE, which, like Adila said, stands for Community Enabled Readiness for the first 1,000 Days Learning Ecosystem project. And I'm just here to briefly give an overview before I give the floor over to the rest of our speakers for today. And I'd like to thank everybody again for coming today on an early Saturday morning to join us in this webinar. So I just want to briefly talk about this whole concept of the first 1,000 days. And essentially what we mean is that when we look at what determines health and disease for any one of us, there is this overarching concept of developmental origins of health and disease, variously called fetal origins of adult disease. And this is an important concept which I will just briefly run through. But essentially what it means is that what my health is and how I'm diseased is actually based on how I'm nurtured while I was in my mother's womb. So, so this takes the concept of nature versus nurture and it comes together. Nature is what nature gives us, and how we are nurtured and how the environment structures us is what we finally become. And what we finally become is also how how at risk am I from getting non-communicable diseases and even communicable diseases, because that also determines how healthy or unhealthy I am. So and this picture here just simply shows us that if we intervene and we put in place measures to try to modify and to improve the whole nurturing aspect from very early on when the baby is in the mother's womb, this helps to actually reduce the risk of non-communicable diseases. Another way of looking at it is from Lee, and he talks about this 3-hit hypothesis for developmental origins of health and disease. So the first hit is the inherited genetic and epigenetic factors in the individual. The second hit is when the baby is in the mother's womb, there are effects on the baby and the infant when the baby is growing in the mother's womb. And of course, the third hit is when the child is born, especially in the first 1,000 days, in the first 2 years, what kind of environmental influences affect the child. And this ultimately will determine and definitely influence what kind of diseases the child may develop subsequently. This is a Russian doll. So this Russian doll is known as the Matryoshka, or little matron dolls. And in Russian, beliefs and all that, the Matryoshka represents fertility and motherhood. So I look at it as actually 3 Russian dolls, nesting dolls. The most important one is the grandmother. When the grandmother has genes, okay, has germ cells, has the gonads, all that with the germ cells, all right? Then subsequently, she gives rise to a daughter, and the daughter herself will also carry with the daughter the germ cells, and then subsequently will give rise to the granddaughter. So this is essentially very important, therefore, that we start with the grandmother, and what happens to grandmother will also ultimately affect the grandchild. So it's a tri-generational kind of thing. So when you're pregnant, you're also pregnant with your grandchild, if you look at it from that concept. So the matriarch, of course, we really respect women. Women are, the root of everything and health. And this is the power of the matriarch we're talking about. And it's very important that we therefore nurture our children from the very, very start when the mother is with the child during pregnancy. And therefore, this is the first 1,000 days we talk about. Nutrition is important, and the overall wellness and well-being of mother and child must be taken into consideration from conception, especially up to 2 years of age and of course beyond. So CRADLE, our CRADLE project is actually seeking to improve parenting self-efficacy and the overall health, especially nutrition and well-being of first-time families. And we are using an integrated choice architecture, creating a self-learning eco-community, using calibrated nudges, as well as group interactions and individualized conference calls and webinars like this, to guide our families from the time that the mother is with child in the first trimester, all the way until the child is born and brought up to 2 years of age. These are all our members. It takes a community, it takes a kampong to do this project, and I really want to thank everybody for in this group for helping us, especially Joyce and Xing Zhi for really driving this forward. We also like to thank Professor Pauline, who's Dean of SMU, as well as Professor Zuliana Lop from US, and Prof. Mary Daniel. I think they are zoomed in at this call also for really helping to guide this entire study project. So this is an overview of the CRADLE study design. We have 3 arms. The first arm is where we reach out to the first-time families through public education webinars like this. The second arm includes nudges, smart nudges, as well as a sharing platform. And the third, the intervention is by our KK midwives. And this is how we plan to track and also measure the outcomes in the 3 arms through using validated outcome tools, looking at general and mental health of the families, as well as parenting self-efficacy, measurement tools, and nutritional health. So again, I'd like to welcome everybody. I think we've got 60 over participants who have joined us. And also, we'd like to thank Tonoto Foundation for so strongly and graciously sponsoring this and taking lead in helping us launch this project, which we strongly believe is very important, as it helps us shape how we want to further guide our families in the first 1,000 days using calibrated nudges. And this is what we plan to do, scale up to the community for Singapore to actually help improve parenting self-efficacy and help our parents become more confident parents and bring up healthier and well balanced families for Singapore's future. Thank you very much.